something new. First pick the Jawhead in Kazakhstan, showing us shades of a brand new meta on the horizon, and we are knee-deep in that right now. It's still surreal. Can I just say, it's surreal to see SDZYZ back in an MPL-PH stage.
After a very long time. Like, I believe the last time that he was here, TNC had a good run. I believe they finished 3rd or 4th.
That was season 10.
Season 10,
season 10 he was here. They struggled, and then he spent a good year and a half elsewhere, and now he's back home. Good folks watching from all around the world, welcome. Not much action yet currently in the first minute of the game, but look at this huge presence from TNC in mid.
Yeah, and we can see that TLPH really will still go with their usual flow. They actually have a 100% first blood rate. 2 went to Carl TZ and 1 with Sanji, so we can expect them to really be aggressive, especially since, you know, Jawhead has been picked here again for JP. And in terms of, wait a minute, heads, oh, flickers out. And the aggression of TNC is showing there as well as TLPH. And as I was saying, it's easier to go for those isolated pickoffs when you have the Jawhead compared to the Tigreal. So I can really expect TLPH to not just group up, but actually divide and conquer TNC.
Oh, I reckon TLPH are pushing TNC's buttons, but it seems like they won't allow these buttons to be pushed not so easily. Because again, TNC, they're sticking to this 3-man trio, and amongst a Julian, a Tigreal, and an Aurora, it's a lot of CC coming.
Oh, look at that! Escalera with a beautiful pickoff! And now JP's the first man down here. First blood again for TNC. And this time, TLPH, their 100% pickoff rate in the first blood is now demolished by the Phoenix Army.
And TNC took out of the equation a very important part of TL's aggression.
Oh, Carl TZ wasn't able to get that turtle wave penalty zone in once again. And it looks like Carl TZ is going to fall down. Escalera, last effort. He's going to fall down as well. Sanford was able to flicker out, but here comes JP going right after SDZYZ. Will he fall down as well? I think the damage is not going to be enough, and TNC turns things around as they take another man down.
Daniel Chu, where were you all these years? I know exactly where you were. Cambodia, Malaysia, but also Egypt. But no, he's a man on a mission. I am so happy seeing TNC this aggressive this early on. Shades of this we saw in week 1. And now, with the right draft, with the right rotation from their trio mid, it seems like they can take down TLPH a good notch. I wonder where the cavalry goes from here, because again, they can't just go off JP anymore.
Yeah.
And this is one of the main weaknesses of a Jawhead lineup. It was a good couple of coaches I talked to in the offseason saying, yeah, Jawhead is great, but if the Jawhead is on the back foot, there's very little he can do.
Oh, speaking of back foot, Escalera's really been doing a good job here, making sure that JP doesn't get in the position that he really wants. And at the same time, I believe TLPH can actually turn things around, especially in the middle game, with how TNC's been performing recently. They've always dominated the early game, but for some reason, they just boil down into the mid game.
They have that. They do have that. That has been a chronic disease that has been ailing the Phoenix Army.
Yeah.
We're in, what, 9 minutes, 10 minutes in?
Yes.
They seem to slip up and they get punished so hard. I'm wondering if the Cavalry's going to find that out. 3-1 here, just under 4 minutes in. Looking at the major goal differences lane per lane, this is odd. Look at Benny Cutie. He's up 400 away from goals. Oh, wait, look at this!
Oh, I think the first target here is going to be, who's that? It's going to be onto JP. And this is what you were saying. It's hard to pull off a Jawhead if you're the one getting picked off all the time.
Last time we saw this was Season 8. The Tigreal and Jawhead, wherein the Tigreal would be more than happy to be thrown in the thick of things because he'd be in prime position to hit the implosion. And here he comes!
And Sanford goes in, but on the backline, it's going to be heads with the penalty zone into Carl TZ. Like his pounce is there as far as the Fidget Grazier, but Sanford soaking up every single damage. He's still going to bring one down. Escalera's going to fall as well, as long... Oh, look at that JP flicker in, not going to connect with the ejector. And now TLPH on the driving here. I think this is the power spike that TLPH is waiting for.
And this is enough for TLPH to score what we call in the business a technical knockout. They didn't get many kills on the way out, but they pushed TNC far back enough to get a free turtle. 1-for-1 apiece now 5 minutes in.
I mean, Sanford, the performance of Sanford so far is great. The Flicker and Earth Shatter combination, as long as making sure he utilizes the passive of the Edith before casting that Primal Wrath. Although he was taken down, he was still able to take down Escalera. And it was up against 3 members of TNC, 1 on 3. So that was a huge play coming in from Sanford.
He lasted 2 seconds longer than any one of us could. It's amazing what Team Liquid PH have done, and now they have undone TNC's gold lead from the early game, leaving the laning phase now, approaching the mid game. If anything, we can look back and say, you know what, JP could afford to die anyways.
Yes,
like all of the members of Team Liquid, JP was the one who really did not mind.
Maybe Sanji, as long as he has the pride device. But in this case, JP is really doing his job, soaking up the damage. And Escalera here. Oh, is he going to spot out Sanji? Sanford. Oh! But Sanji smells it. That's why he was able to flicker out. Here comes Heads with the penalty zone once again. Frigid Glacier for the counter attack. And look at JP right after Escalera. But Sanford is first man down. Are they going to pick up Escalera? I think not. And this time TNC manages to switch things around and regain the lead once again.
That's what you call a heads-up play.
Heads-up play from Heads.
He did not hesitate. Went in for the penalty zone, which was a raw penalty zone, Jose. Can I just tell you? His flicker was off of cooldown, so he hit the full-on distance between him and his target just with sheer courage. He was just bold enough to say, you know what, I'm going to get you. And they did get Sanford. But what's important still is they protected Sanji.
Okay, now Escalera here alongside Kozen. I think they know that TLPH has a plan to pick off at least 1 member before engaging in the turtle fight. And now TLPH this time still in full control. I mean, the position is nice here for the side of the cavalry. But look at this, Escalera still manages to find Sanford. That's 1 initiation down, and the Frigid Glacier is casted as well. This time JB picks up 1 member. Heads has to back away. Oh. And the Spear of Destruction. Moskov will bring down JB. And now TNC on the attack. The Phoenix Army right now making noise.
Call it a bullseye. The fight continues.
Sanford picks up Escalera here. But TLPH manages to bring him down as well. Alongside Heads. Sanford with a crucial Primal Wrath once again as Carl Teasy, the birthday boy, belated happy birthday by the way, takes down the turtle.
Interesting how in a turn of events, Team Liquid PH saved their marbles for a rainy day. They did not activate Carl, they did not activate Benny Cutie up until it mattered. And right then and there, when Heads and Escalera went down, there was no front line for TNC, and that's what opened up the final turtle for the cavalry to take over. Ingan, I hate to say it, but you said it. It happened. There is a mid-game point wherein Liquid PH would hit that power spike, hit that window of opportunity where TNC would have to do it all in or not, and they missed it. Now there's a 2K gold lead for the defending champions.
Yeah, and actually look at JP's stat line 040. That's actually misleading, okay? Because you can see that he's doing his part as the roam. He's able to displace Escalera. Whenever he checks his brushes, Escalera has to back away and at the same time soak up the damage. And Escalera actually used the implosion play onto JP. That's why TNC had no way of re-engaging with the fight once that skill has been casted.
Not just JP, he even did it to Sanford.
Yeah.
And Sanford is more than welcome. There is a 2-layer insurance policy for Team Liquid PH protecting their cores. And they have 3 cores. Oh, look at this!
JP with a conceal. Where are they going to get target? Hatred is the first man down again. And TLPH on a rampage. 2 members have fallen here. Make it 3. STZYZ goes down. Carl TZ on the hunt once again. Escalera, no more members left with him. He's going to fall down. Kazin nowhere to be found. And TLPH marches forward.
Kazan's in the bench. It's Kozen you're looking for.
Oh, sorry.
It's a 4 for none. And off camera, Kozen was just working the turret. Once more, let's break down that engagement up top. An amazing initiation by Team Liquid Philippines. And again, already that's where it all crumbled down for the Phoenix Army. They were just reacting, and they were spread out too far, too thin for Escalera's amazing set to matter. And because of that, it's what they call in the Philippines an audition. They all stepped in one at a time.
Step up, but JP manages to throw Heads once again as they take the first Lord. JP doing wonders for TLPH now.
That's a struggle for TNC, man. They can't throw hands because they get thrown heads.
Yeah.
And that's one frontliner that they need. SDZYZ can sure come in, weave through with an enhanced sword, dash in, dash out, but you really need two frontliners, two chunky boys to break through what
Chunky
JP
boys.
and Sanford are doing.
And I actually like what you mentioned a while ago about TNC being reactive. Because even Sanji is reactive. He has to wait for the implosion or even the penalty zone. And once that's been casted, he's just going to cast a Frigid Glacier. That's why the counter attack of TLPH is really executed to perfection.
It's a catch-22 for TNC.
Yeah.
They can find Benny, they can find Sanji, but Sanji has two layers of protection, the Flicker and the Pride of Ice. Not even a Purify. He could have purified it. It would have been so much easier for him, but instead he chose the more aggressive battle spell, the Flicker. And it's because of this paradox that TNC has to solve, wherein we know that you have a solid front line, we know that you have these layers of protection. How do we even find that? They were okay in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Past that, it's been a struggle.
At the 5-minute mark, as soon as TLPH was able to get that turtle, it was TLPH's game. They were at the driver's seat from then on. And I like that you mentioned Benny Cutie has a lot of shields. Even JP's been serving as a shield for Benny Cutie.
That's why it's 0-4.
That's why it's 0-4-4. They can't manage to get to Benny Cutie because of JP.
And the whole map acted as a shield for Benny Cutie, right?
Yeah.
It was so difficult for TNC with that heavy trio, mid and even heads to find one target. It wasn't worth it for the Phoenix Army. I think this is something that the analysts can break down later on in further detail, but that was the crux of it all. TLPH have spread their eggs enough in many different baskets that the Phoenix Army can only really chase one. And I think that's a stroke of wisdom from them. You know what they say about chasing two rabbits?
Yeah.
You can, was it rabbits or ducks?
Ducks. I think it's rabbits.
Regardless, they chose their lane, they stuck to it, and TLPH punished them for doing so.
Making sure that they react TNC to how they really want them to react. They're really dictating the pace, dictating what TNC wants to do. And now TLPH just really, honestly, they're just waiting for formalities. They're just waiting for the Lord at this point.
And this is a Lord that should come easy for the Cavalry. Something to note, TNC can still find a way out. Number one, take down JP for free.
Yeah.
Take him down for free. Sanford especially. Take those two down for free, costing relatively less than 2 ults and maybe a battle spell. That's it. Tops, economy. But from there on, don't even think of finding Benny Cutie. Like that is a
That's
moonshot.
not top one.
That is that's a tall order. Maybe you take down 40, Carl, and JP. Those are your 3, and then you can go from there.
Oh, wait.
Kozen's found out!
I think they're going to spot out where Kozen's hiding.
He had to spend his Purify.
Oh, no. This is crucial. TLPH, they were able to force TNC to expend battle spells without even actually initiating anything or expending anything. But Escalera, they got the cancel. Implosion wasn't casted there. Now TLPH on the counterattack once again. JP soaking up every single damage. He's the first man down, but TLPH still being able to dish out the damage that they need. That's 1 member down for TLPH, but will TNC contest for this Lord?
Oh no, it was a trade, and it was well worth it. Daddy JP for the major objective. I'll take that any day, twice on Fridays.
Oh, but bang! 1 more to bring down the head. Luckily, they were able to survive that. Now transitioning here to the middle lane. And you know, JP, shades of Chaknu from their last game wherein he sacrificed himself for Omega to secure an uncontested Lord. And that was the plan after all for TLPH. Make sure that JP expends his Flicker, overextends, and TNC focuses on him instead of the Lord that TLPH was getting.
If you check the receipt, JP would be free, asterisk.
Yeah.
He wouldn't really be free. You spent a couple of ults, and you open it up for the contest. And now that's what we're looking at. A Lord in mid, a false engage down bottom, 14 minutes in. I'm seeing at least 2 inhibitors falling, Ingan.
2 inhibitors, maybe 3, but I'm sure TLPH wants to look for a pickoff here. Sanford leading the charge. Oh, look at the damage coming in from Carl TZ. Escalera really not managing to defend those attacks. And now they're able to bring down the middle lane here, transitioning into the top lane. But I still think TNC, they still have it in them to defend this attack.
It's not over till it's over. 2 more inhibitors stand, and there wasn't much of a wave down bottom either. Liquid PH only take down mid, the main artery. If anything, I'll count TNC's blessings for him. This is the best case scenario. You would rather lose mid in a situation like this than you lose either of the outer lanes.
Agree. Especially when it comes to the Lord dances. and you only lost one without suffering any casualties. At this point, Escalera still has his flicker and implosion play, so they can still manage to get the pick off, even just JP. That's good enough, especially if you want to contest for this story.
Let me add to the wish list for the Phoenix Army. It's not impossible that they set up a backdoor play. Number one, looking at the long lane, that is bottom lane, and there's just but the second tier turret and then the inhibitor from there. So what you could do as TNC is feign a Lord contest, feign a fight, so that you give Kozin enough time to maybe break down the inhibitor there.
But again, the problem is TLPH, the masters of the backdoor. They were able to pull off one last week, so I'm pretty sure Benny Cutie, with his knowledge of the wave management, it's going to be hard to pull off a backdoor against TLPH.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah.
But there is one advantage that TNC can leverage besides the whole knowledge and muscle memory for TLPH to do such. Their lineup is built for that. Look at this, between an Tigreal and a Teresa. Oh, JP!
Ah, the robot's running right after her head, but Escalera oh, the flicker play was there! And now TLPH. No resources expended here for TNC, but that was still a death evaded for JP. That was a good try, though.
I know, that was a TikTok attempt.
Yeah, TikTok attempt.
As the kids like to call it. It's the flicker animation cancel into the Unstoppable Force ejector. Yeah, that was a close call. But that is one thing that TNC does know very well. So Escalera, great heads-up play. Heads knows too. But what's commendable is Heads did not commit his flicker. He could have gotten so shocked and scared. Like, oh.
Yeah. Especially since that they really want to pin down at least one member before this Lord. They didn't overcommit, so this is the reason why they can actually contest for this Lord this time.
All right, Lord here at a third of itself, an eighth, a fifth. Not healing. Here we go.
Oh, it's going to be a retribution battle. Going to go on to Carl TZ, but a counterattack for the Phoenix Army is there. But look at Kozin going right after in the middle. But Benny Cutie still manages to dish out the damage and bring down SDCYZ for Sanford. Sanji going right after the backline here alongside Carl TZ. He's going to get pinned down by Escalera, but is the damage going to be enough? Because TLPH gets the Lord and the kill.
Great rope-a-dope there by Sanji, keeping himself safe. Expending the flicker, but not the Pride of Ice. Use that purple buff wall to elude TNC. That was close. If they lost Sanji, that would have been two things. Number one, huge shutdown gold for TNC, and this would have been a less lethal Lord push. Now back to the, I'd say, possibly the last push, right? If TNC don't defend this,
third Lord.
They're fine. I think Sanford being out is a blessing. This is fine.
Oh, Conceal coming in from Escalera. They really want to go right after Carl TC here. They were able to burst down the Lord without inhibitor turrets taken down. But still, TNC was able to defend it. And I'd like to go back to Sanji because if you've seen the last clash, Sanji, we keep saying this even during international tournaments. Sanji's one of those mid laners that uses his flicker not to retreat but to attack.
Yep.
That's how courageous, that's how powerful Sanji is whenever he gets his comfort picks. And looking at the KDA, 406 for Sanji with the Aurora. I don't even think that the Pride of Ice was ever expended.
Yep.
The whole game?
It wasn't. Hasn't been. He's been a third of his health down.
Wow.
The furthest, and it was in that sequence, and then he's fine. He's safe. So now 8K ahead, 18 minutes in, we are approaching the upper limits of what a game should be in the current meta game. In a professional MLBB, about a minute until the next Lord. And I'll tell you now, Ingan, more now than ever, I think this is a Lord that's actually contestable for TNC.
I think so too.
The longer the game goes, the more items are put on the TNC, despite how miserable and how deprived they are of gold and XP in the elapsed time so far. And that's going to get closer and closer to deadlock. And the fact that they only lost mid-lane inhibitor means the map is still slightly favored for them.
Plus, again, they have the Moskov, one of the late-game gods that can actually manage waves properly, but at the same time still be in the clash, especially if the Spear of Destruction hits. So TNC, this is where they want to prove the doubters wrong. People have been saying that they have no closer. They can't close games. They can start strong, but this time, with the circumstances being slightly in their favor compared to the past games, I think this is the perfect time to show them, to show everyone that TNC can really bounce back and close games.
Here's the hoping SDZYZ can pull a second wind because he had a great start. 3 minutes in, was calling all the shots. Now approaching the 20-minute mark. Can this Julian come in clutch? Can SDZYZ steal away a Lord from Carl TZ? So far, so good, just managing the waves. Propping up for this third Lord. This is an evolved Lord. It comes with a passive. It's gonna hurt more in team fights. Again, I'm getting flashbacks here. SDZYZ, Carl TZ, they used to face off before Carl became a world champion, before SDZYZ made his debut in MPL.
This time SDZYZ saying, I'm back, I'm ready, but they able to find Escalera. Carl TZ is gonna walk back there. No death so far. Now JP on the counter attack. They still have their ultimates, as well as the Primal Wrath and Frigid Glacier. Heads, they're really going right after heads. And now Sanford Flicker in! Frigid Glacier is there, plus the throw coming in from JP, but the penalty zone is there. Benny Cutie just managing to dish out the damage from the backline as 3 members of the Phoenix Army will fall down, but on the top lane, Kozin is there making sure that they're able to push an inhibitor tower at least, but I think he has to go away because TLPH wants to make sure